Hey dude, what's up?
Yo,
Space.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh fuck, sorry, hold on. I got your stream on still. Good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not the R word, and I'm not 12. So there you go. We've talked before. So your position, it doesn't seem to have changed since last time we talked. It seems like it's only gotten more extreme, more in the realm of what some people would consider like Nazism. So So is your are your main point still that all the military actions that the IDF are carrying out are within the realm of what a regular moral military would do? And is your position also that they have the right to carry out the actions in the way that they're doing it?
Yeah, so the I'm not going to deny that Israel has made some really bad mistakes during the war. Namely, the worst one that comes to mind was shooting or no using a drone strike or some sort of missile attack against
Or kids?
some no there was some sort of aid organization that was delivering food or something, and
The
they were
World Food
actually in a
Program.
designated area that was known to, you know, it was like a safe zone where it was known to carry aid, and they were targeted in a strike. That was, at least as far as I can remember, the most inexcusable thing that happened
They
during
were.
the
It was the World Food Program. They
yeah.
were targeted in a strike. They were targeted in three strikes. The first strike hit the first van. Then the survivors ran to the next one, and then they fled. And then they were hunted down. They were struck again, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
survivors for that one. Second one.
that was the worst mistake the IDF made.
This is the
As
worst
far
one.
as as far as the overall conflict is concerned, though, I acknowledge there's going to be like oopsies and mistakes and shit made in any conflict. But as far as the overall conflict is concerned, yeah, as the general rule, the IDF is acting benevolently. They seem to be trying to minimize civilian casualties. And they're deliberately targeting Hamas officials and trying not to target civilians.
When you say they try to deliberately try to um, mitigate civilian casualties, you're saying that because they do things like what do they call it? Roof knocking and setting out leaflets for safe areas
Yeah,
and where to leave.
leaflets. They call buildings. They have a cell phone warning system that hands out QR codes to show safe zones. There's roof knocking. So yeah, they do a variety of things.
Do you think a roof knock can kill anybody inside of the building?
No,
No, you don't think the percussion from a roof knocking does any sort of damage to anybody sitting in the house?
no.
Okay. And so for the safe zones, so you've seen the fires that happened at that other safe zone where people got killed or
It
whatnot,
wasn't
and
a safe
yeah,
zone.
it was a safe zone, so I
No, it
understand what
wasn't a
you're
safe
saying. That
zone. It was a
okay,
civilian encampment that was outside of the safe zone.
okay,
They were given orders to evacuate to a safe zone. They weren't actually in a safe zone. The safe zone was something like 500 to 1,000 meters away, something like that. And they were targeting Hamas officials that had a secret weapon cache that was 180 meters from the civilian encampment. And when the IDF killed the two Hamas officials, it set off the hidden munitions that Hamas was keeping within reach of a civilian encampment. Those munitions went off. It ended up causing a chain reaction where the munitions hit a fuel tank, and then the fuel tank exploded, causing fire.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, what you're saying is you're saying it with confidence, and those are things that are just speculative at this point. Regardless of that, aside from Sunday, on Monday and Tuesday, two other camps were hit. One camp, 20 people died, and the other camp, 8 people died. They were hit by airstrikes as well. So it doesn't have anything to do with that fire. The one thing that's same across the board is all of those camps were also listed on some of those safe leaflets that you talked about, where they tell people to go to safe areas.
Okay. I'd have to look into each of these situations, but every time I hear about this crap, it's
so
wait. Every time I hear about this, wait.
You took one Twitter video that had some voiceover with two people talking. So, oh yeah, it must be Hamas. Oh, hopefully Hamas doesn't kill us. And you made an entire YouTube video out of a Twitter video.
No, I didn't.
But you're saying it's crap.
So you're talking about the Instagram video I reacted to on stream. If you actually watch my video, I didn't even use that as a reference. You can check the references in the description. I used an article made by the Israeli Times, and they actually showed, what was it? Satellite surveillance footage to actually show that, yeah, the IDF was targeting Hamas members 180 meters away. And then, yeah, there's also footage of the actual IDF strike itself that was released. And on top of that, there's the cell phone footage that the Palestinians took. And the IDF was also able to intercept cell phone communications between several Palestinians talking about the fire. So what the fuck are you talking about?
That's not. They haven't said that at all. That's from that video that you're saying. So that's not.
No. Check my. Watch the video and look at my sources. I linked them in the description. I even showed it. I literally even showed it in the video. It's linked in the article.
Okay, cool. I'll concede. Let's say all of that is true. Do you think military like the U.S. would implement a strike 183 meters away from a civilian encampment?
Yes.
You do. So you think that's how the U.S. targets?
Okay. Stupid. Have you ever talked to fucking U.S. drone operators? Are you out of your fucking mind? You know how many innocent civilians have been killed with U.S. drone strikes?
I know how many Palestinians have. I'm not talking. So you realize people died in that fire from that explosion.
Okay,
that
great.
Explosion hit the encampment, correct?
Yes. Whose fault is that? Why do you think Hamas had a munition stash 180 meters away from an encampment?
Sorry, but
they intentionally fucking do this shit.
You're saying they take safe precautions, but if the shrapnel or whatever,
it was munitions. It was munitions fire.
If it was close enough to get that camp, then that's not taking safe precautions.
Yes, it is. They were using the lowest yield explosives they possibly could. I think it was 37 pounds. What?
Congratulations to them. It was 1,000 pounds, was it not?
No, it was a 37-pound explosive. It was like 7 kilograms.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, again, you can look at the fucking article I referenced by the Israel Times. Every source you'll be able to find on the internet will also confirm this. It was the lowest yield explosive they possibly could. It was something like 32 pounds or 32 kilograms. Can't remember which. But they used the lowest yield explosive they possibly could to reduce the likelihood of some sort of shrapnel or secondary explosion from affecting any civilians. And it turned out there was a hidden stash of munitions that Hamas had that went off and exploded.
That's speculation.
That's not speculation. Again, it's not just speculation because, again, there's recorded footage from Palestinians at the scene talking about it. They also intercepted cell phone communication from Palestinians also talking about the hidden munitions cache. So no, it's not just speculation. That's what the evidence shows.
So it's the IDF, or it's a video recording from an account from somebody that's already been caught.
Okay, so you didn't bother watching my video, you didn't bother looking at the fucking sources, and you don't know what you're talking about.
The first time that video has ever shown up on the internet was on an account of somebody that is well known for doing that shit.
Okay, well, that's great. I didn't use that video as a reference because I knew... I didn't use that video as a reference because he's not a fucking journalist. And I didn't want to use that video as a fucking reference. So I used a reputable journal outlet as evidence. I never used that fucking video as evidence, so I don't know why the fuck you're bringing that up.
Because you're talking about a video where two Palestinians are talking and there's voiceovers on it, right? That video...
No, I'm talking about the fucking cell phone communication that was intercepted.
Okay, it's not the cell phone communication. So which one, is it the video or is it cell phone communication that has the exact same wording as what was shown in the video of two Palestinian people who must have known for sure?
You didn't even, you literally admitted you didn't even watch the video or look at my sources. So I don't know why you're fucking saying this, but again, if you look at the fucking video I made, I referenced the Israeli Times.
Okay, let's move on. So if it is the case that the camps that were hit, the three camps that were hit in the last 3 or 4 days, were on that leaflet, the leaflets that were distributed, would you think that's taking safety into concern? Regardless, they know the fucking camps were there. You're talking about the drone footage. You can see the camps and the tents in the drone footage. So how is it that they're still striking all of these camps where people have been told to flee to?
The only thing that I reported on was the camp where 45 people were killed. I don't know about the two other camps. I'd have to look into it. But assuming if the IDF did strike two camps that were in the safe zone, then they probably found Hamas officials that were around the camps.
Well, I'm gonna have to spoil this for you, but the U.S. wouldn't kill a target just because it's surrounded by civilians.
You might want to reword that because it made no sense. Try again.
You said that it's okay for them to kill the Hamas if they're in the middle of the camp because they're Hamas.
It depends on it depends. So if you're talking about a high-ranking official, that is a high security risk. That is likely going to contribute to, say, tens or dozens or hundreds of more deaths, then yeah, it might make sense to actually have a few civilian casualties to take out the official. If it's a low-ranking member, then it might not. It entirely depends.
How many civilian casualties do you think?
I don't know. It depends. It depends on the value of the target.
You have a range or anything like that?
It depends on the value of the target.
So in the beginning of the war, for the Lavender report that you didn't bother reading, the 6th IDF operatives.
Well, wait. Before we move on to that, do you have a problem with
this is tying into what you just
Okay, sure, go ahead.
So in the Lavender report, what the 6 operatives all said individually was that at the beginning of the war, when they were bombing houses, they were cleared to kill for every low-ranking official up to 25 civilians, and then for every higher-ranking official from 50 to up to 100.
Okay.
And there's been cases afterwards where there's been more than that. So you think that's a reasonable amount of people to die for one low-ranking official? That's for the low-ranking connection to Hamas. Maybe they're a gunner. Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
Do you think anybody in your chat would think that it would be okay? Let's say that a military target of the U.S.
Can you give me some sort of counterfactual? Like, what's the U.S. Show me the U.S.'s standard protocol, in Afghanistan. Because I know the U.S. had a similar protocol in Afghanistan. They were even allowed to kill family members of terrorists because of they had some sort of connection system where if you're
did with bin Laden.
What?
They did with bin Laden, that's correct. But since you said that they have some sort of system, do you think that it's in line with Israel? Then can you produce any of that?
It sounds about right. Let me see if I can just quickly Google something like that.
I don't think
American drone strike civilian collateral damage assessment. Let's see. Executive services directives. This PDF is just loading. I don't know if I'll be able to find the information in this document quick enough, but
okay. Here.
It sounds to be in line with U.S. doctrine though, with casualties that are accepted in drone strikes.
What are you basing that off
of? Shit that I've heard.
That you've heard. Okay, so that doesn't sound very credible.
Again, you're the one claiming that Israel is using military doctrine that is far outside the norm. So show me a counterfactual. Show me military doctrine that's used in the United States military that is nothing like Israel, where they wouldn't accept that many civilian casualties for one terrorist.
Uh, there was a report that came out from Commander General Kenneth F. McKenzie Jr. in CENTCOM, where they spoke about they were going after a high-ranking target, and they were tracking that person for up to 2 years. The person surrounded themselves with their family and civilians for 2 years, and after 2 years, the person had finally slipped up, and then they took that opportunity to kill them. But that was the level of measures that they went to kill a high operative and minimize civilian casualties. I don't think you'll find any instance in the world of any like Western democratic military that is going to say that it's reasonable to kill 25 civilians for one low.
Can you actually show me a source for that?
What I just said, I have in the past. You can look it up right now. It's 9+972's magazine, the Lavender Report.
Lavender Report, civilian.
+972 magazine.
+972 magazine. What the fuck is that?
You bothered ever researching any of this stuff? I've literally sent this to you before. You looked at it for 2 seconds in the visual and you clicked off because you didn't like what you saw.
Lavender, the AI machine directing Israel's bombing spree in Gaza. Let me see. 2021 book. What the fuck? Wait. Independent journalism from Israel, Palestine. Let me look up the...
I don't have your stream up. Do you have it? It's from April 3rd.
What do you mean?
The report is Lavender's.
Yeah, it's from April 3rd.
Well, yeah. They also go into detail that they used a system called Where's Daddy, where they would track the Hamas, whatever you want to call them, the terrorists, if you must.
Yeah, they'd wait for them to be in their home. Again,
they would track. Well,
yeah, they'd wait for them to be in their home. So would you rather them blow up a fucking terrorist in the middle of a fucking grocery store or something?
Well, it's funny because people like you make the argument that they use civilians as, what do you call it? They use them as human shields. And IDF makes that same argument. But so you would prefer them to go home and be killed with their families as opposed to in some make-believe military fighting area that Gaza doesn't have an access to. Let's say there was that access and they went home at night. You would think it's not using human shields if they're going home and then they're being killed after being on the battlefield when they're not in active combat.
What does this have to do with human shields?
That's because that's what the IDF says is they surround themselves with civilians and they're human shields. But if you
that's right.
If you just admit it through the fact that they wait till they're home with their families, isn't that your way of arguing that they use human shields?
No.
Because Israel chooses to kill them when they're around people?
No. So Hamas makes military installations in civilian infrastructures. The terror tunnels are a great example of this. The terror tunnels they use stretch all throughout. Shut up. The terror tunnels stretch all throughout Gaza. They go underneath hospitals, mosques, grocery stores, apartment buildings. But Hamas has never made any bomb shelters for civilians. That's an example of using fucking human shields. They're creating infrastructure for their terrorist attacks that stretch all throughout civilian infrastructure, but they won't build any fucking bomb shelters. Rather,
the example of human shields is that since they know that the ruthless military will bomb the shit out of all the fucking infrastructure to get down to them underground, that's how they use human shields, because they know
it stretches all throughout civilian infrastructure.
Because they know that the military against will indiscriminately bomb them.
What do you mean indiscriminately bomb?
I'm just taking Joe Biden's quote from late October.
I don't fucking care what Joe Biden says.
It seems like you do most of the time.
No, what the fuck do you mean indiscriminately bomb? So if they're indiscriminately bombing, why isn't Gaza a parking lot?
Are you fucking joking, bro? It's 70% a parking lot.
No, it's
Look
not.
at a.
No, it's not.
Yes,
No, it's not.
you can look. You can look.
Okay,
You can
cool.
look.
Give me. Okay, cool. So, do you have a
You can look
source
at a.
that says 70% of like all buildings are being fucking toppled or something?
Yeah, yeah. You can literally look at. There's sliders, bro, from before and after. Jesus Christ!
Oh,
Look,
okay.
look at
Trust me,
any of
bro.
this
I
stuff.
saw images on Google. Okay, got it.
I'm looking it up right now since you apparently can't.
Um,
Jesus
let's see.
Christ.
In an unprecedented move, according to two sources, the army also decided during the first weeks of the war, for every junior Hamas operative that Lavender marked, it was permissible to kill up to 15 to 20 civilians. So I don't know where the 25 number came from. In the past, the military did not authorize any collateral damage during assassinations of low-ranking militants. The source added that in the event that the target was a senior Hamas official with the rank of battalion or brigade commander, the army on several occasions authorized the killing of more than 100 civilians in the assassination of a single commander. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, so you think that's justified? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Like,
what you're
look,
looking for is called.
these people are extremely fucking dangerous, and you're probably
Oh, are
not
they?
going to get
They're
many.
extremely.
You're
They are.
probably not going to get many opportunities to kill these people, and like the alternatives involved. Where let's say they were only able to do a ground invasion, they're not going to use any sort of missile systems. You're talking about a very high likelihood of like high attritional losses for the Israeli military. So you could either kill one Hamas official with up to 100 civilians dying, or you could have only a ground invasion where we're going to have extremely limited use of targeting missile systems, and have like say 20, 30, 40, 50 Israeli ground troops that'll die to kill a single commander.
So if anybody's listening, what you can take from what Richard just said is that the risk of military losses does not outweighs the taking any sort of reasonable measures to limit civilian deaths, is what you just said.
Okay,
you just said
wait.
make it as safe as possible for the soldiers and not worry about
is there not an interest to not have your own military members die?
So you don't think that Western military forces take any measures and even put their own soldiers at risk to minimize civilian casualties? Is that what you're saying?
Not to an unlimited extent.
It sounds pretty unlimited if you're talking about 20 people for one low-ranking fucking military person.
Okay,
it's like
so
it's like,
oh my
if
God.
a soldier hit himself in a village. It's a soldier hides himself in a tiny village in, say, Vietnam, and you say that would justify napalming the entire fucking village. Like,
no, I didn't say that.
Let's say there's 20 people in that village, and you'd be justified for it, right?
Could be maybe, maybe not. Depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, well, that's why people call you genocidal. So, what you're looking for the images? Images is called satellite images show destruction from Israel's assault on Gaza.
Why don't you just link it in the tea time?
Well, because then I gotta. How do I do that?
Just click on the tea time thing, and then link it in the tea time channel.
I'm on my phone. It's gonna say. So just going back to that, then so that's the thing. So one soldier hides himself within like a village of 20 people. It's okay to napalm the place.
Okay, dumbass. Can you show me the counterfactual? So if Israel were to not use any of these missile attacks, and they were to just use ground forces, armored infantry, shit like that, can you show me the counterfactual that would result in massively lower civilian casualties?
That wouldn't result in massive civilian casualties?
Okay, so if you're gonna fucking criticize Israel for using missile systems, that would assume the counterfactual to that, using only ground infantry, would result in less civilian casualties. That would be the assumption if you're going to criticize these missile strikes. So
come on, bro.
Show me the counterfactual evidence that using ground forces, so, you know, are just ground infantry, armored vehicles, tanks, shit like that, that would result in significantly fewer civilian casualties.
I don't have one.
Okay,
But
then why the
that
fuck
doesn't
would I
matter.
have a
But that
huge
doesn't
problem?
matter.
So stupid. Why would I have a huge problem with Israel using these fucking missiles when you can't even provide me evidence that not using the missiles and just using ground infantry would even save a single fucking civilian?
You literally just said it because you care more about the soldiers than you care about the people.
No shit! I care more about my own fucking military than random fucking dickheads that are supporting Hamas.
Yeah, because you don't understand fucking war and how it works.
Oh, I don't understand war. Okay.
No,
well, thank you, military expert. Yes. Right. I'm a Commander General Twitter Lord, and I understand the military. Okay.
You show zero comprehension around like taking some sort of reasonable measures to limit civilian casualties.
Reasonable measures to limit civilian casualties. Oh, okay. So I guess the, handing out QR codes, messaging buildings, door knocking, leaflets, leaflets. Yeah, okay. All of that is not reasonable measures. Okay, got it.
Out leaflets to places that you bomb fucking 3 days later. Okay, that is sick. So it's just basically like...
Well, okay, dude, why don't you go to Gaza and tell everybody, hey, it's fucking stupid to move if they're gonna bomb us, so let's just let them bomb us.
Why would you move if they're just gonna...
Yeah, why would you move? Right. Okay, cool. Go over to Palestine and tell them all that. Why would you move? Just let them bomb you. They're gonna bomb you anyway. Yeah, encourage the civilians not to move to safe zones. Got it. I think that's what Hamas is actually doing. There's evidence that they're actually rounding up civilians in these areas, holding them at gunpoint, forcing them not to fucking leave so that they can use them as human shields. Maybe you should join Hamas.
Yeah, that's cute. No, where do I post the link?
Just in the tea time chat.
Tea time. Paste. And then, so you've seen...
Oh, Al Jazeera. Okay, great source, dude.
I knew we'd say that. Uh-oh. I guess.
All right, so satellite images reveal the destruction of hospitals in Gaza. Okay. So you claimed that 70% of Gaza is a parking lot. What the fuck does this have to do with your claim? Okay. Look there. Oh my God! Look at this. There's 8 photos. Oh, yeah, 70% of Gaza. Okay, so this covers 70% of Gaza, dickhead? So where's the evidence that 70% of Gaza is a fucking parking lot?
Why don't you show how Gaza looks right now, that you think it's not destroyed?
You're the one making the fucking claim, jackass!
Well, I've showed you some pictures. Do you have any pictures that prove otherwise?
Okay. Let me just cherry pick a few photos that I can find on the internet of Gaza where it looks totally fine to prove to you that, look, see? Nothing even happened in Gaza. It's all overblown. Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah.
So again, where's the evidence that 70% of Gaza is a fucking parking lot? Oh, let me just give you a link to this Al Jazeera article that's extremely pro-Palestinian biased and only shows hospital locations.
How about 70% of Gaza homes? Does that work for you?
Sure, go ahead, do it.
You want me to link that again?
Yeah, sure, link it. Yeah, sure, link it.
Jesus Christ, I think you're just trying to like delay me or something. So anyway, so you know the way that the Israel treats Palestinians, right? At least in detainment.
Yeah, I've seen some terrible things.
Yeah, that's like the one thing you've actually conceded to. So what do you think of that in terms of them being a moral army?
Well, again, I don't know if this is the general rule. Probably isn't. There are specific detainment camps that I've seen where it does look like there are really bad human rights abuses. But from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like the general rule. But yeah, obviously, if stuff like that is happening, then Israel absolutely should be criticized.
What else have you seen in terms of Israeli detainment of Palestinians to show you otherwise?
What do you mean?
You said from what you've seen, it doesn't seem like that's like the overall case. What else have you seen?
Not much else. I've only heard of a few instances of certain detainment centers abusing prisoners. I've heard of a few accusations of sexual assault, but when I look into them, they're usually fucking horseshit. It's just like some girl who said like a male officer patted her down, and then they consider that sexual assault.
Or young boys like that unit that Anthony Blinken had the report for, that they were talking about withholding any sort of funding for that.
This is another thing from Al Jazeera again.
Yeah,
300,000 out of 439,000 homes have been destroyed. Israeli attacks. Wall Street Journal report. Then why in the fuck didn't you just link me to the Wall Street Journal? What the fuck? You send me a fucking Al Jazeera article? Okay, and then the Wall Street Journal article is fucking blocked. But okay, fine. 70% of fucking Gaza homes are destroyed. What be fucking diddly do? Whose fault is that?
So that doesn't matter when all you're targeting is what, 30,000 combatants?
Yeah, so it's 30 to 40,000 combatants that have committed to committing an endless genocide, who keep shooting fucking rockets into fucking Israel, and it's costing the fucking Israeli military hundreds of millions of dollars on some occasions on some months when the rocket attacks are frequent to run the Iron Dome system.
And people are getting killed all the time in those attacks too, right?
Sorry. Wait. So you're telling me, like, any other fucking country in the world would tolerate losses of hundreds of millions of dollars to run a system like the Iron Dome when you have terrorists right next door shooting rockets into their fucking country?
Well, there's two.
Any other country would be expected to tolerate those sorts of losses.
There's two responses to that. The first would be that at the end of 2022, Israel was actually in a surplus, probably because they get $4 billion plus allowance from the USA. So they're okay with their money. So
what the fuck does that matter?
As you've seen since the beginning of this war, with the tens of billions of dollars they've gotten in the last couple of months, they're not.
Oh, okay. They're giving military aid. Who cares if they have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars running the Iron Dome? I mean, well, they're giving military aid. Okay.
One, you're looking for bleeding hearts over $100 million for a place that gets billions just handed to them every year. The second point of that is that, not aside from the fact that most of those rockets are compiled of rockets that were already shot over the fence at them.
No, they're not. Most are not made out of rockets that are already made out of rockets that were shot out of the fence. I don't know how many exactly, but it's not the majority.
There's videos of
yes, I know there's videos of them fucking taking some of the munitions and turning it back into rockets. That's great. That's not the fucking majority.
The rest they're just conjuring up with their ancient anti-Semitic witchcraft out of their ass, right?
It's not particularly difficult to make explosives, believe it or not. If fucking retarded terrorists who believe that they're going to get fucking 92 virgins in heavens can do it, it's not that complicated.
So, speaking of virgins, so the Telegram group, 72 Virgins, that was run by the Israeli military. What do you think about that in terms of morality?
The what?
Telegram group?
What about the Telegram group?
72 Virgins?
What is that about?
It's a group where they post videos of Palestinians that were killed, how they were killed, celebrating it, all types of disgusting shit. Great. So that's your moral army that puts out a Telegram group?
Okay. So when 70% of fucking Palestinians are cheering on the October 7th attack, where 1,200 Israeli civilians were fucking killed, over 200, I think it was 190 something foreign nationals were killed, and 200 fucking hostages were taken. When 70% of the entire Gaza Strip supports Hamas and supports the October 7th attack, poor Palestinians, they're all innocent, please save the little children. But then when you have a few Israelis with a fucking Telegram group cheering about the fucking deaths of some Palestinians, Israel's all evil. But when you actually look at when you look at research statistics on the support for Hamas and support for the October 7th attacks, with 70% supporting the October 7th attack in Gaza, they're all innocent, save the children, weird double standard.
The saddest thing is the inverse of everything that you've claimed is so wildly disproportionate when it comes to Israel. The amount of people that are in Israel that are in favor of the war and the way the war is carrying out is much more than what's in Gaza. Way
Yeah,
more
no
people.
shit, because they just fucking experienced the worst mass murder since the Holocaust.
So yeah, that's a really cute talking point. But do you know what's a better one? Is the fact that you take that number and you compare it to the amount of Palestinians that have
Yeah,
been
whose
killed
fault is
by
that? Whose fault is that?
Israel.
Whose fault is that?
Israel.
No, it's Hamas. Hamas is the one who did the October 7th attack. They're the ones who fucking instigated the second intifada when they're fucking given a land for peace deal. And by the way, the Palestinians are the ones who started the whole Israeli war of independence in the first place. Whose fucking fault is it for any of this? It's always the Jews' fault.
Isn't it interesting that it's always, they did a little attack, so now let's do fucking 100 times worse. And
yeah, no shit. It has to be that way. Yeah. By the way, this proportionality bullshit is fucking retarded. No. This proportionality bullshit is fucking retarded. Okay, guess how many American civilians died in World War II? Fucking zero. Guess how many fucking German civilians died in World War II? 500,000. Oh, America committed a genocide during World War II. It's disproportionate. America should have killed no German civilians. They shouldn't have even gotten involved in the war because look how many German civilians died. Like, this is fucking retarded. No shit. If you have a national security threat, you have 30 to 40,000 terrorists who are committed to fucking wiping out your entire fucking race. Shit. If they attack you and 1,200 Israeli civilians die, and you're trying to ensure the national security of your nation, it's obviously going to result in a disproportionate fucking attack. What, you're telling me that Israel can only kill 1,200 Palestinian civilians after an attack that killed 1,200 Israeli civilians? You know what? Maybe Israel should take down the Iron Dome so that all the fucking rockets that Hamas shoots into Israel, it'll kill more Israeli civilians so that they'll have the justification to kill more Palestinian civilians. Is that the way it should be?
Are you okay? You're done now. That's good. Okay, you're done. That's fun. That was great. That was fantastic. So you're so for 1,200 people, 40,000 plus is okay. But anyways, wait. Yeah, wait. If the Nazis killed 1,200 Jews, would you be okay with eliminating 40,000 Nazis? You went more. If you use the inverse, we should knock the fuck out of all of Israel for everything they've done to Palestinians. So just
everything they've done to Palestinians. You mean as a result of them fucking suicide bombing, attacking, stabbing fucking innocent civilians, shooting people, launching rockets? You mean that?
It's always the weirdest projection because for everything you claim, Israel's done the same thing 10 to 100 times more. And that's the one thing that's
No. Look. This entire fucking conflict is entirely the Palestinians' fault. They are the ones who always initiate the fucking violence. So if you have a fucking problem with Israel attacking Gaza over the fucking October 7th attack, then you should be condemning Hamas.
What do you think the conflict?
Look, this is fucking retarded. Are you against the invasion? Are you against the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan? Because the Twin Towers strike killed 1,500 people, and that resulted in tens of thousands of more fucking deaths in Afghanistan when the U.S. invaded? Like, what is this proportionality bullshit? If the Twin Tower attack would justify the invasion of Afghanistan, then how in the fuck, how in the fuck could you say Israel's in the wrong here?
You're so scared of everything.
Okay, so dipshit, are you against the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan? Yes or no? Are you against the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan? Yes or no?
Yes. So
you are. You think the U.S. never should have invaded Afghanistan after 1,500 American civilians were killed?
No, I don't. So there's your response.
Wait. What's the basis for that? What's the basis for that? What's the basis for that?
Stop looking for your way out.
What's the basis for that?
Let me go with some.
What's the basis for that? What about Pearl Harbor? Are you against the U.S. involvement in World War II because of Pearl Harbor?
Am I against them fucking nuking Hiroshima? Yeah.
Are you? No. I'm not talking about that specifically. Are you against the U.S. involvement in World War II because of Pearl Harbor?
No. But there's a difference between involvement and response. It's the whole fucking thing that I'm saying. Regardless.
Okay, so 500,000 German civilians dying. You're cool with that?
I'm not cool with civilians dying, period. That's why I have the position that I have. You, on the other hand, is okay with one civilian.
Well, clearly you are. So, wait. In the World War II example, you're fine with U.S. involvement in World War II, which ultimately led to 500,000 German civilians dying. Those are acceptable losses for you. But the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan, that's not acceptable to you.
You're just putting my words in my mouth, and you're not letting me talk, so you could just either just keep ranting.
Okay, go blah. Talk about the fucking children and how it's a genocide. Go on.
Don't even have to do that. Jesus Christ. I'm okay with the response. It's just a level of responsibility that's happening. Okay, back to what I'm trying to
Well, let's talk about the response. No. This is the root of this seems to be the root of the problem. That you seem to have an issue with how Israel's responding. Tell us, how should Israel have responded to a genocidal regime that is committed to committing more attacks like October 7th indefinitely until their entire race is exterminated? How should Israel have responded?
Israel is a genocidal regime. So
how should Israel have responded? How should Israel have responded?
Non-genocidally.
How? Yeah, so explain.
One, they should not have cut off food to 2.
They didn't cut off food. They didn't cut off food. You can look at the daily average. You can look at the daily averages of food coming in. There is no fucking evidence that Israel's fucking starving anybody.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't. The daily average is something like 110, 120 food trucks per day. So no, there's no fucking evidence.
Can you just stop steamrolling and just fucking engage in a conversation?
Great. Okay, great.
You had this
So
with me before.
Yeah.
Listen,
so again, explain.
Going in there.
Okay, go on. Explain how Israel should have handled this.
I'm explaining. There was 500 trucks going into Gaza before that.
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't a 500 daily average. No, that's a lie. I can explain why that's a fucking lie. I can explain why that's a fucking lie. I can explain why that's a lie. You're spreading a fucking stupid bullshit lie.
Most of it was food, and then the other trucks were for other things and other necessities.
Yeah, and that's fucking true. You can look at the fucking data. So if you actually look at the fucking data that's posted by organizations like UNRWA, pre-October 7th, they were actually separating out food for human beings and food for animals. They were also working on a working day average. After the October 7th attack, they actually changed their standards. Rather than looking at all food going into Gaza, they were only separate. They were combining both animal feed and human feed. They were also doing shady shit with construction materials. They were actually adding up all fucking aid going into Gaza. That included construction materials. That included animal feed. That included human food. Then post-October 7th, they completely changed their standards where now they're only including fucking human food. They're not lumping in construction materials and animal feed together. And they're going by a 7-day average, not a working day average. So they're multiplying. Okay. So they're multiplying the amount of fucking trucks going in by a factor of 7 over 5. And then they round up to the highest number, which is 500. So that statistic is a complete and utter fucking lie. If you actually look at the fucking food going into Gaza pre-October 7th, actual human food, it's actually less than the current amount of food trucks that are going into Gaza right now.
You know how many crossings they've closed throughout the year?
Okay, that's great. That has nothing to fucking do with anything I just said.
Are you telling me they put more trucks through the crossings?
Yes, there are now more food trucks, actual human food trucks, going into Gaza as a working day average than pre-war.
This is going to be so embarrassing when people cross-check.
That's great. Yeah. I'm sure it will be.
Why do you genuinely think that the food programs, international agencies, the International Court of Justice...
I don't care about any of that bullshit. So, again, why don't you explain some more what Israel should have done in response to October 7th?
So you don't think that they've?
I don't fucking care. Why don't you go on to explain what else Israel should have done after October 7th?
Not bomb houses with people in them.
Okay, so what should they have done?
I've had a military plan. How about having a military plan in the first place with an actual achievable goal? Would that be an idea?
Do you understand this is question begging? I'm asking you what they should have done. They should have done something else. Okay, what should they have done? Well, they should have done something else.
Here's a statement. Figure out what.
Tell me the fucking military strategy and plan that they should have fucking engaged in.
They should have had a fucking plan.
Okay, well, clearly they do have a fucking plan. They're executing it right now, and you're fucking complaining about it. So again, this is just question begging. Explain to me since you're a fucking military expert and you're telling me I don't understand war, tell me what should the plan have been? What should they have fucking done? Don't just say, well, they should have had a plan. Well, again, I can ask you, what should the plan have been? And then you're going to say, well, they should have had a plan. Okay, what should the plan have been? Well, they should have had a plan. Are you going to fucking answer?
This is my understanding of what Israel's plan was.
I don't care about what Israel's plan was. Tell me what they should have done in response to October 7th.
I just fucking did. I said they should have a plan. They should figure out.
Okay, fuck off, dude. You're a fucking idiot. One last chance, or I'm booting you from the fucking server. Tell me what Israel should have done in response to October 7th. Don't just tell me they should have had a fucking plan, because that's not a fucking answer. So tell me, what should Israel have fucking done?
You're not letting me finish my sentence.
No. Last chance. What should Israel have done?
Targeted Hamas militants where they knew that they were.
Oh, okay, that's what they're fucking doing. That's why they have the fucking AI system. That's why they're using satellite imaging. That's why they're fucking doing all this fucking shit to target Hamas militants. So,
you know how they
again...
targets? You know how they generate targets?
Yeah, they use the fucking AI system and blah, blah, blah. That's great. That's great. That's fucking fantastic. So we've already established they're targeting Hamas. We already know they're targeting Hamas. So again, you're not answering the fucking question. How should they have conducted these military operations? We know they're targeting Hamas. You're just the only issue that you have is that they're not doing enough to minimize civilian casualties. So again, you're not answering my question. What should they have done instead of what they're doing now?
They're not doing anything to fucking minimize casualties.
That's great. So again, tell me, what weapon systems should they have used? What type of military strategy should they have used? Explain what they should have done.
What's that word that you...
Dude, all you're doing is saying they should have done a better job. What should they have done instead? Tell me, what should they have done? Since you're such a fucking military expert and you're saying Israel's doing this wrong, they're doing this wrong, then tell me what should they have done instead?
They should have conducted their operation the way that other moral militaries...
Okay, so again, you're not answering the question. You're just saying, well, they should have done it like other militaries would have. Okay, then what would other militaries have done? Give me a fucking answer.
I have. Richard, you're not
no, you haven't. No, you haven't. All you've said is they should have done a better job. That's not answering the question. What should they have done? Give me a step-by-step recommendation of what Israel should have done. What type of weapon systems should they have used? What type of targeting techniques should they have used? What type of military troops should they have used? Should they have used armored vehicles? Like, tell me, what should they have done?
Okay, so first off, they know where Hamas people were because they had their cell phones, so they knew their locations, they knew where they were going. If they knew they were leaving the house during the day, they knew where they were going, so they would have been going to any of their bases, to their tunnels. So they could have used that AI information to track the fucking phones of where the people were going.
Yeah, because I'm sure they don't do that right now. Okay, so they're already doing the shit right now. The most reliable way.
Them at home?
Yeah, because that's the most reliable way to kill them without endangering more civilians.
The most reliable way to kill them without endangering civilians is instead of following to where they're doing their military operations, wait for them till they're at.
What do you mean? They do their military operations in civilian areas. They're in civilian infrastructures. If they're in their terror tunnels, they're probably underneath a fucking hospital. So you're telling me they should use like massive high explosive bunker busting bombs that can penetrate 15, 20, 30 feet underground to kill one Hamas official that's underneath the fucking hospital? Like, are you fucking retarded?
They already wiped out fucking all the hospitals.
Okay, great. So, according to you, they're doing exactly what they should have been. They should have been tracking Hamas officials, waiting for them to go outside of their home, wait for them to go under fucking terror tunnels or infrastructure that they embed in civilian infrastructure, and then use the most high explosive possible to penetrate up to 50 feet underground, underneath a fucking hospital, so that mass amounts of fucking civilians die. That's your recommendation?
That's your word.
No, that's your words. That's your words.
If they know where the tunnels are, why don't they go in the tunnels themselves?
Okay, so do you wanna go join the fucking IDF and go in a fucking terror tunnel that could be fucking booby trapped, that can have Hamas officials underground, where you're gonna get shot up, blown up, shot with fucking grenades or something? Is that the best strategy? Is that the best strategy?
Sounds like from everything you said is Israel is just a bunch of cowards that'll use bombs instead of anything.
Oh, Israel's the cowards, right? That's why Hamas uses these fucking terror tunnels. That's why they use civilian shields. But Israel's the cowards. Okay, join the IDF and show them what true heroism and bravery is. Go into a fucking terror tunnel and get your ass blown up and show everyone how brave you are.
You know, the counter to this is you're saying that Hamas should use their military bases? How would you fight if you were occupied? Where would you fight
I'm
from?
sorry. If I were occupied, I sure as fuck wouldn't build like terror tunnels and fucking military bases underneath fucking hospitals, because I'm not a fucking coward who hides behind fucking civilians.
So you asked me about responses. So how do you think Hamas should have responded to...
Okay, so you're telling me Hamas is doing exactly what they should do. They should build terror tunnels underneath civilian infrastructure. They should keep weapon caches. They should keep military troops in apartment buildings, in hospitals, in mosques, so that the IDF is disincentivized to target them because civilians are there. So they're doing exactly what they should do.
What people might not realize what you're saying here is, where would Hamas fight from? And you can't answer that because you know there's nowhere that they're allowed to have.
Look, there are many ways that Hamas could actually minimize civilian casualties. They could. Well, listen. They could have made underground bunkers for civilians, ask people to evacuate, and if they absolutely had to use civilian buildings. So if they had to launch rockets from hospitals, from mosques, they could just tell civilians to evacuate the area, go into these fucking bunkers, and minimize civilian casualties, but they don't do that. They deliberately set up these... They don't do that. They tell civilians to stay indoors, stay in these apartment buildings. Hamas members have actually admitted on camera during interrogation that they hold civilians at gunpoint, tell them to stand on rooftops where rockets are being fired from, because they know IDF drones and surveillance systems will see civilians, and it will disincentivize them to actually target those buildings. So,
you think interrogation is credible from the IDF?
Yes, it is, because they don't use fucking torture techniques.
They don't use torture techniques.
They don't use torture techniques to force confessions. They do not use torture techniques to force confessions.
Roll back to the point of our conversation where you admitted to the way that they treat people in their detention centers?
That is not the fucking same thing as using pain compliance techniques to force a confession. That is not the same thing as using pain compliance techniques to force a confession.
People in most detention centers.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. So again, yeah, great, blah, blah, blah. So again, tell us about what Israel should have fucking done in response to October 7th. Tell us what Israel should have done in response to October 7th.
You're running away. You're saying that they don't torture.
Can you give me evidence that that Israel uses torture during interrogations? Presenting any of that evidence?
You've already conceded.
Do you mind presenting any evidence that Israel uses torture during interrogations?
you've already conceded.
Do you mind showing me any evidence that Israel uses torture during interrogations?
If you want to wait, sure.
Do you? Okay, great. So show us that evidence, or shut the fuck up.
So do you want to wait? So we can go back to points in our conversation where we talked. So you did.
Yeah. So again, explain what Israel should have done instead during the conflict. So we covered the aid trucks. That was bullshit. They're not starving anybody. We covered them targeting Hamas officials. Again, your recommendation is fucking stupid and it would result in more civilian casualties.
They are
so what else?
They are starving people. Anybody thinks otherwise is
great. That's great. That's great. Yeah, 32 starvation deaths, but there's mass starvation. Okay. So
that's not starvation. That's an
32 people out of 2 million. It's mass starvation, everybody. The entire population is going to die from malnutrition. It's mass starvation. 32 people in total since the beginning of the war. So great. That's debunked. So we've covered the fucking starvation. That's bullshit. We covered them targeting Hamas officials in their homes. That's fucking stupid. So tell us more about what the IDF should have fucking done in response to October 7th.
Did the ICJ, yes or no, issue orders saying that Israel's not meeting its standards to get humanitarian?
I don't fucking care. So that has nothing to do with what I just asked you.
Is that a yes or no?
What should... I don't fucking care. What should Israel have done in response to October 7th? That has nothing to do with what I just asked you. What should Israel have done in response to October 7th?
Well, if you're lying, then I think
what should Israel have done in response to October 7th?
Okay, so Richard's lying. So just everybody's
what should Israel have done in response to October 7th?
What should Hamas have done in response to 2023 being the deadliest year for Palestinians in the West Bank before October 7th?
Okay, so Hamas is mostly located in Gaza. There are Hamas operations located in the West Bank. Guess what? The reason why there's IDF operations and Palestinians getting killed in the West Bank is because of fucking terror attacks. So if you want to blame anybody for Israel going in and fucking shooting people and killing Palestinians and capturing prisoners, then blame fucking Hamas, blame the fucking terror attacks.
So blame Hamas for that aren't in the West Bank for Israel killing.
Hamas is in the West Bank. You can look at the amount of fucking terror attacks that occur out of the West Bank. Hamas takes responsibility for almost all of them. So Hamas is in both the West Bank and Gaza. It's just that most of them are located within Gaza.
Okay, and how many people died in those terror?
So again, tell us, what should Israel have done in response to October 7th?
They should have responded.
That's not an answer. That's question begging. So again, what should Israel have done in response to October 7th?
Less than they've done now. Like, I don't know.
Okay, that's not an answer. You claim to be a military expert. You claimed I didn't know anything about war. So tell me, what should Israel have done in response to October 7th?
They should have went in with the plan to get Hamas militants.
That's not an answer. Please explain. Yeah, so explain what... no, that isn't. That isn't an answer. You know what? This is like me saying, Israel should have not killed a single civilian, and they should have just only killed Hamas members. That's not an answer.
The goal, right?
That's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. How is that objective going to be accomplished? How is that objective going to be accomplished? Explain to me how that objective is going to be accomplished.
Explain to me how they're even attempting to accomplish that when they've killed more children in this.
Avi, by the way, Avi just messaged me. Apparently 13.7% of structures are destroyed. 6.8% of structures are severely damaged. 17.2% of structures are moderately damaged, and 12.1% of structures are possibly damaged. Thus, by the best available data, 37.9% of buildings are confirmed damaged or destroyed, with 50% of the structures confirmed as damaged nor destroyed. 12.1% of structures are in question under the category of possibly damaged. That is UNOSAT data. That's from UNOSAT data. The source is UNOSAT.
You just said 50% damaged.
Yeah, so about 50% of structures are confirmed as neither damaged nor destroyed. So 37.9% of buildings are confirmed, and of the remaining percent, 12.1% of structures are in question. And the source is
Structures.
UNICEF.
Structures, so not
Yeah.
homes.
That's not
Structures.
homes specifically, that's structures.
Yeah, and I said homes specifically, but also if 50% are confirmed not destroyed, or what was it? 50% what?
50% are confirmed as not destroyed.
Okay, so the 50% are confirmed at the very least, damaged.
So again, what should Israel
The
have
embers.
done in response to October 7th?
no.
And don't just tell me
No, I mean,
they shouldn't have killed a
let's
single
hang on.
civilian and they should only have
Let's
killed
hang-
Hamas.
let's hang
That's
on.
not an
Let's hang on.
explanation of the types of military activities they should have been doing.
Why
So
are
tell
you
me,
moving on so quick? You took time to be like, oh, Avi's got a cute little stat, and then you said that, oh, it's only 50% that are damaged. So that was the big win?
yeah, great. So tell me, what should Israel have done in response to October 7th?
I just said take some sort of measures to.
Yeah, okay, so
minimize
that's not an
going
answer.
past
So
it.
basically, you're just saying I don't know.
said
You're just saying
I
I
said
don't know.
respond-
All you're saying is Israel should have done better. That's not an explanation. That's not an
your
explanation of what.
your
So if you're going to
question
say
there,
they
though.
should have done better, then you should know that there is some sort of other conduct that they could have done that would have improved the outcome. So tell me, should they have
There
used
is.
different
I
missile
just
systems?
fucking did.
Should they have
I
used
just
different
told- I
targeting
told you that a
methods?
million times. I
No,
told
you
that a
didn't.
million
No, you
fucking
didn't.
times. Yes, I
We've
did.
gone through some of them. You were recommending that wait for Hamas to go to their terror tunnels where you'd have to use much higher explosive loads that would result in far more civilian casualties. So that was a stupid recommendation. So
it's
again,
not. If you're
tell me.
That's your conclusion. If you're a genocidal fucking maniac, is to bomb the fucking buildings to get to stuff under the ground.
You
Which you're
literally
not-
just said wait for them to go to their terror tunnels. Their terror tunnels are up to 50 feet underground.
Go in the fucking tunnels.
Okay,
Go with
so
the entrance.
right, so just have massive attritional losses for the Israeli military. That's your answer?
That would be the case if you're going into a
Okay,
heavily
so you're
civilized
fucking retard.
area.
Okay, so basically your argument for how Israel should have conducted military operations in Gaza is die. Go into the terror tunnels and just die.
Richard, how many militaries in the world, when they're in war, have used ground troops? Would you say it's safe to say?
Yeah.
that most
So
of them use ground
guess
troops?
what? Guess what? In Vietnam.
No.
A similar issue happened in Vietnam where the Viet Cong had an underground tunnel system. They did a very similar thing. Guess what the main method of dealing with these terror tunnels was? Using fucking high explosives to blow up the underground tunnel system. That was the main method they used.
And that whole thing went well, right? That's known as like a gold
Well, it's
standard
better than
for
just going into the tunnels and dying.
No, come on, tell me. Vietnam was known as a gold standard for civilian care.
I'm not talking about the overall fucking war. I'm talking about how the U.S. had to deal with things like terror tunnels, something similar to what the Israeli troops are dealing with in Gaza. Guess what? The only way to deal with it, the only way to deal with this is either closing off some of the tunnel entrances with explosives or using high explosives to penetrate deep enough underground to collapse the tunnels, which is what Israel is doing. They're also using some plastic bombs to close off some of the tunnels. They've tried to flood the tunnels with seawater. They're also doing that. But again, your argument for what Israel should have done in Gaza is go into the tunnels and fucking die. The tunnel systems are extremely extensive. They're extremely complex. They stretch for tens of kilometers. You can't just block off every fucking tunnel.
You just said they were dealing with tunnels. So the definite response was not to bomb as much as possible within the first couple of weeks and have that amount of civilian casualties.
They didn't bomb as much as possible. If they wanted to bomb as much as possible, Gaza would be a parking lot.
No, because they're literally right fucking next to it. And so are other countries.
What do you mean
So
right next to it? There's a blockade around Gaza. There's practically no Israel civilians living around Gaza. They're several kilometers away. So no, if they wanted to turn Gaza into a fucking parking lot, they could have. They could have they could have used a fucking nuclear bomb and not killed a single Israeli civilians. There aren't any Israeli civilians living within Gaza.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. They would be impacted by a nuke.
No, they wouldn't.
Yes.
I think the closest Israel settlements next to Gaza are like 1.5 kilometers away.
So how did they get all the people on October 7th?
Yeah, they flew in and used fucking cars to go to these really small Israeli towns, and the music festival was happening very close by as well.
The funniest thing about all of this is that everyone on your side claims that Hamas is such a threat to Israel, knowing full well that Hamas has been trying their damnedest for however long they have, and the only time
right, okay, so I guess these, occasional terror attacks where 1,200 people die, that's just, that's just what you have to deal with if you're Jewish.
You know what you don't do?
Well, that's just what you have to deal with if you're Jewish. A bus blowing up, your entire family being murdered. That's just what you have to deal with being Jewish. Like every few months or few years, 1,200 people here or there are going to have to die. You're a Jew. You're a Jew. You don't deserve to live. You're a fucking Jew. So just let Hamas exist. Just occasionally, a couple thousand of you are going to die. You're a Jew.
Nazis like Richard be like,
you're a Jew. Well, you've convinced me. If you're a Jew, then your entire family might die. That's just what you have to deal with.
15,000 kids. How many Jewish people have died since the conception of this compared to how many Palestinians have died, Richard?
I don't fucking care. Guess what? If you're fucking stupid and you want to fuck around and find out, then go attack the IDF and see what the fuck happens. Fuck around and find out.
What do you think what happens when you occupy an entire people?
Oh, occupy. Okay, well, the initial partition plan wasn't going to displace any Arabs. The Arabs at the time were under a fucking authority that was extremely fucking anti-Semitic. They were actually helping the Nazis recruit for the SS. They just hated the fucking idea of Jews having their own state around a land that they considered to be under Muslim rule. So they were the ones who went to war with the fucking Jews. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Occupying force.
What happened to the 800,000 Palestinians that got displaced?
They fucked around and found out.
No, they didn't. They were just there, and they said if you stay, you're going to get killed. So they left.
No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. A lot of the reason for the displacement was actually because of Palestinians. So what they ended up doing was they were fucking trying to get support from countries like Jordan by lying to everybody, saying Israel is going from town to town, shooting and raping Palestinian civilians, and then that freaked people the fuck out, and then they fled. And no shit, because Palestinians decided to go to war with Israel. Israel was obviously going to have to overtake territory for their security.
Are you an idiot? They were living there, Richard. And then they got displaced.
Yeah, because they started a war. Because they started a war. No shit. If you start a war, you're going to get displaced. And again, the reason why so many Arabs got displaced was because they were spreading lies about what Israel was fucking doing,
Richard,
mass murdering and raping fucking Palestinians, and then that freaked people out and they fled.
What does destiny teach you? You realize that people...
that's great.
Did European Jews come from Europe and move to Israel?
Okay.
So what happened to the people that were living there before?
What? Like, are you saying Jews physically? Is this like? Is this
quote unquote?
Oh, two objects can't occupy the same space, so it's the law of displacement. If a Jew moves in, a Palestinian has to move out. Is that how that works?
That's literally like what's happening all the time in the 70s.
Oh my God, you're a fucking retard. You're
what
fucking.
Are you talking about?
If we allow immigrants to come in from Mexico, that's going to displace Americans. We can't let Mexicans come in because that's going to push white people out.
If one day Texas decided that like they were going to move to Mexico and then they took over half of it and pushed half the Mexicans out and
most of the fucking territory that Israel was going to be given in the partition plan was unoccupied fucking swampland. So that idea is fucking retarded.
That's the biggest cop-out ever.
No, it isn't. Most of it was unoccupied, undeveloped fucking swampland.
For people without the land. Give me a fucking break. Look at Palestine in fucking 1930s, bro. That was a fucking thriving community.
Well, that's great. It's a thriving community of anti-Semites who fucking hate Jews, who hate women, who kill gay people. So that's fucking great. You know what? I'm glad Jews fucking went there and displaced them because they're obviously unreasonable, violent fucking people.
What do you think about what happened to the First Nations people here in Canada? Is that your same opinion of them?
Some of them, certainly.
The ones that fought back, right?
No, some of them, the Comanches, they were fucking horrible. They were just torturing people like fucking absolute maniacs. So yeah, absolutely, some of them were going to war and fighting other tribes. They were fucking murdering anybody who came anywhere near the fucking territory and killing them in the most fucking barbaric ways imaginable. There were some peaceful tribes that were displaced. And that's obviously horrible. But like, again, when you're talking about fucking tribes of people that were committing, tribal genocide and were fucking, torturing and murdering other people in the most barbaric ways imaginable, like burying people next to an anthill and cutting out their fucking eyelids. Yeah, fucking displace them. Get them the fuck out of there.
And genocide them, I guess that's so that you're saying that was happening between Palestinians at the time? In the 1930s?
No.
They were just savages.
Again, what happened was, if you look at the fucking original partition plans, there was no plan to displace any Arabs. Israel was going to have a massive Arab minority. So there was never any fucking plan to displace Arabs. The only reason the Arabs went to war with the Jews was because they just hated Jews and hated the idea of Jews occupying what they considered to be a rightful Muslim majority. They just didn't want to have any kind of Jewish rule there. That's the only fucking reason they went to war. There was never any risk of displacement.
Richard. David Ben-Gurion said, "We must expel Arabs and take their place." And this quote is from the letter to
That's fucking great. That's fucking great. If you actually look at that's great. If you actually look at the partition plan, I don't fucking care if you can find a single quote from some random dickhead who doesn't have ultimate power over like the partition plan and the Israeli Authority. So again, if you look at the original partition plan and what was planned for Israel, they were never planning to expel any Arabs. Israel was going to have a massive Arab minority, and it still does. About 20% of Israel is Arab.
That's massive. That's massive.
That's a huge minority. That's bigger than I think any single minority in the U.S. or Canada.
Can they marry Israeli?
Yeah, they can.
Can they marry Jewish Israelis?
Yes, they can. They have the exact same rights as Israeli Jews.
So if they move away from there for a certain amount of years, do they lose their citizenship?
I don't know.
They'll have to come back?
I don't know.
People in the West Bank will have to go in Israel vote?
Well, no, they're not fucking, they're not Israeli citizens. They're in the fucking West Bank.
Okay. So there's two kind of...
They're not Israeli citizens. They're in the West Bank. They're under the Palestinian Authority.
Do you think the West Bank is an apartheid?
No.
No.
On what basis is an apartheid?
So do you think can they go anywhere?
On what basis is an apartheid?
Can they go anywhere they want to? Or are there checkpoints?
Yeah, they can. It's just that there's security checkpoints, again, because of fucking Hamas and terrorist attacks. So again, fuck around, find out. If you want to blow up buses, if you want to murder fucking Israeli civilians and attack fucking pregnant women with knives, guess what? You're probably going to have fucking security checkpoints.
Do they have the same status as people in Jerusalem? As Jews in the area?
They're not fucking Israeli citizens.
So they're separate. Are they part of their own
state? No
then?
shit. They're not Israeli citizens. And no, they don't have their own state because every fucking time they were offered their own state, they rejected it.
So they're occupied.
I guess you can call it that if you want. And I wonder why they're occupied. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fucking terrorist attacks. I wonder if it has anything to do with the war they started. I wonder if it has anything to do with them rejecting every fucking land for peace deal they were ever offered. Gee, I wonder why.
So
no, I figured it out. Jews are all evil.
Who controls the checkpoints?
Israel, obviously. Israel has given some responsibility to the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian Authority also deals with some of these checkpoints and policing. Israel has the interest of national security. So again, if Israeli civilians are the ones who have to go on a bus and be worried about a fucking Palestinian blowing up the entire bus and killing people, guess what? Fuck around and find out. If you want to commit acts of fucking terrorism, then yeah, you're probably going to have to deal with fucking security checkpoints. Again, all of this could be solved if they didn't commit acts of terrorism, if they didn't fucking keep saying, from the river to the sea, we'll be free, and actually accepted land for peace deals. They're actually going to be given Jerusalem in the last land for peace deal. Oh, fuck that! Fuck that! We want everything from the river to the sea. Intifada. Oh, Palestine will be free. Oh, where? There's checkpoints. Oh, where? Israel doesn't like us bombing buses. Where?
So the settlers in the West Bank violently expel Palestinians from their homes?
Yeah, they do that when they commit acts of violence.
Or do they just do that when they want to?
They do that when they commit acts of violence.
Are they held accountable for doing that, or is the IDF?
So I will say this: there is a lack of accountability with the IDF. That is a problem. But again, all of these problems could be fucking solved if Palestinians stopped with the fucking terrorism, stopped with this Intifada bullshit, and accepted land for peace deals. Like again. Yes, there are fucking problems with any fucking policing force, any military force. You're obviously going to have issues with a lack of accountability. But again, all of these problems could be solved if they would accept land for peace deals, if they would stop fucking committing bus bombings. Why does all of the responsibility land on fucking Israel? Like, again, it's like Israel has to fucking deal with a mentally retarded person who's trying to kill themselves and other people. Like, what are you supposed to do?
It's almost like they're occupying people that they don't give.
Occupy, settler, colonialism, all the buzzwords. I've heard all this before.
You've kind of admitted that's what it is under your own definition. So the U.S., whenever the U.S. gets questioned about these things happening to civilians, they all say it's up to Israel and they're doing investigations on themselves. When Israel investigates itself, from what I've seen, I don't think an Israeli soldier has spent more than...
Yeah, I know. I would agree with you. There's a lack of accountability. There's very sus things. Yeah, there's a lack of accountability. I think the longest sentence that's ever been given was 3 years. One person got a 20-year sentence, but they got a pardon. They're out in like 3 years. There's a lack of accountability. It's obvious why these sorts of things happen. It's kind of like when the police have to investigate themselves.
But
and
do you
police
think the US,
usually get a slap on the wrist.
US has done war crimes, right?
Yeah, they absolutely have. You will see war crimes committed by any nation. And again, within these structures, you're going to see a lack of accountability. But again, the overall problem that is starting all of this bullshit is the behavior of the Palestinians. Again, if they were to have accepted the partition plan, none of this would have been a problem. They would have been granted Israeli citizenship, and they would have been living in much better conditions than they have now. That's why you see so many fucking Palestinians saying, "Oh, we want the original partition plan now. Oh, please." And again, then when you fucking try to grant them these land for peace deals, they say, "Oh, fuck it, we want all of it." And then Intifada, bus bombings, rocket attacks. Like, that's the fundamental fucking problem. You can criticize the Israeli military and lack of accountability and war crimes and shit like that. But again, acting as if Israel is just evil is fucking retarded.
So I haven't been challenging you on those points because I disagree that they were fair deals or even reasonable deals. I think they were all heavily in Israel's favor, and then all of them that involved the PA looking over the people of Gaza. The PA essentially just act as the fucking watchdogs for the IDF, and that's why people aren't in favor of it. I don't care about litigating that at all. So for the U.S., there was a sergeant.
I don't care. I don't care.
They killed 16 civilians.
I don't fucking care. I don't care. None of that has to do with fucking Israel-Palestine. That's great.
You got life in prison. Well, you're trying to equate Israel as being a moral army. That's something.
Yeah, that's fucking great. I don't fucking care.
but you've already
Yeah,
said
that's
they
fucking
don't.
great. Great. American military has more accountability. Great.
You're talking about you're mad about people demonizing the IDF, but you're saying that they don't hold themselves accountable for any of their war crimes. They don't investigate.
Well, look, there's like you could look at the issue that happened with Bradley Manning or Chelsea Manning now. There's a lack of accountability in every military system. The U.S. military is way larger than the Israeli military. They've also been involved in way more fucking wars. Just on that basis alone, yeah, you'd expect to see longer sentences given out to American troops who were disobeying orders or committed war crimes. I don't fucking care.
So you think there's a big discrepancy between the way that Israel's able to take accountability?
There isn't a big discrepancy. Again, just on the basis of the size of their military and the number of conflicts they've been involved in, you're probably going to see fewer fucking Israeli troops get some sort of punishment for war crimes just on the basis of them not being involved in as many wars and conflicts.
Okay, so then you've seen videos. So all these things we can account for. They've shot and killed hostages waving white flags. They've shot a woman in the head.
The hostage with a white flag thing is a stupid fucking example. What's the other one?
A woman running with the children. She got shot in the head. There was somebody else that got shot in the head while he was doing the investigation.
I don't know what happened with the woman who got shot in the head. I've seen the video, but
you've seen the drone footage?
I've seen the video, but I don't know what exactly happened. That could have been crossfire. I don't know if they were specifically targeted. Who knows?
You've seen the drone footage of the 4 boys that got bombed. Joe Rogan.
No. Oh my God, the 4 boys that were drowned. First of all, they look like they were military age. They weren't just boys.
Okay, so
they were military. Yes, 16 is military age. They recruit boys. They recruit boys as young as I think fucking 6 years old for suicide bombing attacks. So yes, 16 is military age. I've seen the fucking Joe Rogan video. I know what video you're talking about. I don't know if their age was actually confirmed, but they look like adult men.
What were these kids gonna do? Were they going to go Super Saiyan and Kamehameha fucking Israel?
If they are part of the Hamas military, then they're valid targets. Do you have any evidence that they weren't part of the Hamas military?
So regular militaries.
Do you have any evidence that they weren't part of Hamas military? Yes or no?
Yes, they weren't. They didn't have any weapons on them.
No, okay, idiot. Just because they didn't have any weapons on them at the time, that doesn't mean they're not Hamas members, and that doesn't mean they're not valid targets. That's not how that fucking works. You can even look at ICJ standards. If somebody is part of the military and they're not in a uniform and they're not carrying weapons, they're still valid targets.
So it's valid to drone strike for potential military age
children. Do you have any evidence that they weren't part of the Hamas military?
Let's say they were. So they're walking in the sand without any weapons.
Yes.
They get drone struck.
Yes.
And blown up to shit.
Yes.
One of them is crawling away to safety.
That's great.
To kill them.
That's great. Yes. They should be blown up and killed if they're part of Hamas.
There are literally 4 kids walking around minding.
Oh, 4 kids, military age. You just admitted they're around 16. And by the way, I find that very hard to believe. They look like adult age.
A kid.
That's great. That's great. 18 is a fucking kid. Oh, fucking 20 could be considered a kid. I don't fucking care. If they're part of the Hamas military, they are valid targets. Guess what? Kids can fucking kill people. So should Hamas only exclusively recruit children 16 or under so that Israel can't attack them? Is that what you're saying?
So for anybody watching,
should Hamas only recruit kids 16 and under so that the IDF can't target them?
So do you think that instance...
So should Hamas recruit kids that are 16 and under so that Israel can't target them?
I never said that was the case.
You literally just said you shouldn't be able to target kids that are 16 even if they're part of the Hamas militant group.
I'm saying there's no indication they were part of it. There's no indication they were part of Hamas.
What do you mean? You don't have Israeli intelligence. You don't have Israeli intelligence. They would have the... You don't have to? Oh, I saw a video on Joe Rogan. Oh, so Israel committed a war crime. That's your fucking evidence?
You're an idiot. I didn't see it on Joe Rogan. I said Joe Rogan covered it. I saw it when it first came out.
That's great. That's great. That's great. So your only evidence is, oh, Israel committed a war crime because they were 16, and I have no other fucking Israeli military intelligence to either confirm or deny that they were valid military targets. Just the fact that they were 16, I know they committed a war crime. So again, I'll ask you again, should Hamas exclusively recruit kids 16 or under so that they can't be targeted by the IDF?
No.
Then what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck does it matter if they're 16?
Christ. They could be any age. They were unarmed people walking. And
yeah, it doesn't matter if they're unarmed. If they're part of the Hamas militant group, they're valid military targets.
Well, if they're valid, yeah, but there's a way that you could deal with a valid military target other than blowing them into smithereens. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Should we shoot them with small arms so that they die slowly and bleed out? Is that the better way?
How about if you can see that they
were literally in the middle of the road. There were no civilians next to them, and they used relatively low-yield explosives to kill them. There was no collateral damage. So you're fucking telling me, oh well, let's just send in the Israeli ground infantry to shoot them with small arms, so that their guts could be ripped apart more slowly and they can bleed out and die slower.
Or you could not kill them.
Oh, okay. Let's just not kill Hamas militants. That's your answer.
Well, you think they do such great things when they get some sort of
you're telling me it's wrong to kill Hamas militants?
You say they treat them very well.
Are you telling me it's a good thing to let Hamas militants live?
I'm saying there's no indication that there's a Hamas militants.
Okay, you don't have Israel. Sorry. Hamas doesn't always have weapons on them. They also fight in civilian clothing. So no shit. If you see video footage of anybody getting attacked in Gaza, you're going to assume there's no indication with a 30-second or a minute-long clip. Israel has the intelligence that they have where they determined that these are Hamas militants. So you seeing a minute-long clip online doesn't mean fucking shit. You do not have the intelligence that the Israeli military has on these fucking people. So what the fuck are you talking about? You can see any fucking random clip online of anybody dying, and you're just going to assume that Israel committed a fucking war crime?
You're making it up because when this happened, the IDF said the reason it happened is because they were in a designated kill zone.
Okay. So what's your fucking evidence that they're not Hamas militants?
There was no evidence that they were. And the IDF never claimed that they were either.
Oh my God. Okay, well, fuck around, find out. If you want to stay in a designated kill zone and not go to a safe zone, fuck around, find out.
Do you think there's no problem with not telling people where those kill zones are?
They do. They tell you where the fucking safe zones are. They give out leaflets. They give out QR codes. They contact buildings. They give out leaflets. So again, fuck around, find out.
Those safe zones where they get killed. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Right. That's why only 35,000 or so people have died, and not 2 million. Right.
What kind of evidence do you think the prosecutor?
I don't fucking care. No. So again, I'll ask you for the last time. What should the IDF have done in response to October 7th?
Not war crimes.
Okay. Well, we're done. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
What a fucking idiot. Guy's an absolute moron.